Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin bubble news channel. On top of a system that is getting worse by centralizing things. Bitcoin can help you get out of that. Not many people know I was right. If you look at the world through the right lens, you can see that Bitcoin is the only free market where prices fall to the minimum cost of production. This means that your life is getting better and prices are going down. If you're measuring the world with the wrong model, a fiat tool is likely to show you that. In a recent chat with Bitcoiner and author Saifedean Amos, Jeff Booth talked about the growing worries about how stable Bitcoin is and what role it plays in the banking industry. Booth talked about how the problems with the current economic system, which is marked by frequent price drops and unpredictable price spikes, could be mirrored in the idea of centralizing Bitcoin. Booth talked about the risks of Bitcoin becoming centralized and warned that this kind of control could lead to the kind of economic trickery we see today. He said that the current financial system was unfair because it created division and inequality by printing money all the time and controlling everything from one place, which made the market unstable and easy to influence. Booth said that Bitcoin's strength is that it is not controlled by a single entity. He thinks this is important for keeping the economy stable and avoiding big price changes. Nevertheless, he warned that Bitcoin could crash if it became too centralized. Understanding and keeping Bitcoin's decentralized nature is important to avoid repeating the problems with the current economic model and to protect against ongoing market volatility. This is similar to the problems that traditional financial systems have. If you want to see more videos like this one, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post alerts. Have fun with the movie. It's getting worse and worse for the world as a whole because of making money and distorting it. Things should be getting better and better for everyone else. Everything is getting worse because the system is putting more power in the hands of a few people. Bitcoin can help you get out of that. Though not many people know, I believe that's because they don't fully understand what that and the attack vectors look like. They think it's difficult when it's really quite easy. Deflation is what a free market does by itself. That means we've never lived in a free market. Things that keep us in line have been getting worse over time. It's because we choose leaders who separate us that we go to war over the way things are run. Over and over again, it looks like that after a war ends, when the winner restarts the currency and says, "We promise we won't do it again," then it starts all over again and does it again. People are in that trap, and they have been for 5,000 years because they trade with each other to get more value. A system, on the other hand, could give you a lot of power if you could slowly take some of that value from other people. After a break, we learned something about Bitcoin that will change everything. That means that all of our old ideas about what it looks like or what Bitcoin looks like don't matter as long as Bitcoin stays safe and decentralized. What's new since you wrote the book, or since I wrote the book? This shows that you and I were both right and that you can check to see if you're measuring the world with the right model. It's a free market when prices drop to the point where they meet the marginal cost of production. Prices are going down and life is getting better. A fiat tool is probably the wrong way to measure the world if you're using the wrong model. It hurts your brain to think about this because it's about things you can't see. We're going there though, and as long as Bitcoin stays safe and decentralized, that's where society is going to a place that is almost unthinkable. It's so beautiful and gives me hope for people, but it's hard to imagine from the way things are now. And that's part of the problem with Bitcoin right now. A lot of people are stuck in the way things are now. They're mixing up. They are making Bitcoin follow the same rules that have always been in place because they think that's how it should work. The fact that they do this also contributes to the centralization of Bitcoin. Since it's such a different, let's start from the beginning. These tools can't work with each other. If you accept deflation, all prices fall in relation to money. If you don't, prices stay the same. The one that doesn't need to centralize or else it will fail. Nothing else we're talking about would matter if Bitcoin stayed decentralized and safe. Prices will always go down compared to it. In other words, I say if because throughout history, people have always said if you could control money, you would avoid the word might. If you could make something, you would control it, because you could take a little bit off of everyone's productivity that they wouldn't notice and save it. We know that both of those are true. We know that if it stays decentralized and safe, the whole planet will move to the system we were just talking about, where everyone works together to make things better for everyone else. We also know that there has never been a safe and decentralized currency. Jeff Booth wants people to believe that Bitcoin and the US dollar are the same thing, suggesting that Bitcoin will finally become an important part of the second one. By giving tether to the US Treasury, he would eventually centralize the system and turn it into a money-making machine. Booth wants to know if the goal is to get people to switch to Bitcoin or stay with Tether or another stablecoin. He says that most people will be fooled by Bitcoin's negative nature, even though they think prices will go up. Booth talks about 2 points of view on Bitcoin. Unbanked people around the world, a circular economy, and people in the West a way to keep their money. He talks about why Layer 2 and Layer 3 solutions are needed to protect Bitcoin's security and decentralization and let people spend it without going through middlemen. To learn more from Jeff Booth, let's go back to the talk and watch more clips. I would tell everyone that Bitcoin is going to be an important part of the US dollar. I would also try to persuade them that the US dollar and Bitcoin are the same thing. I would use the ability to make money through Tether to give the US Treasury more money and get people all over the world to pay in the second layer, which is the US dollar and other currencies. I would also bet on the difference in price between Bitcoin and that, and it would turn into a huge machine for making money, to be able to get more people to do it. And as more people use this new layer on top of Bitcoin, it would naturally become more centralized because it needs to. This is because the free market deflates prices, while the new market raises prices. Would you rather keep people on Tether or try to get them to switch to Bitcoin? Then, if those incentives are Bitcoin, another stablecoin, or LT2, think about the incentives in the business or the US dollar. Is it in your interest to keep them in the US dollar or move them to Bitcoin? And I think that because those benefits are paid for by the same thing we're talking about, there is more centralization and it happens faster. The natural market also takes you there for the same reason. No one will know. How many people who really believe in Bitcoin today think that prices will keep falling forever, like we talked about at the beginning? Most people on Earth, 99.9%, think prices are going up, so they will be tricked. I see two sides. If you're not in the West like us, you might first see it as a way to save money. If you're not in the West, you might see it as a way to keep the economy going. You can see both. Some people get to the store of value because they can use this because they don't have a bank account, and others get to the store of value because they're in a place where money isn't losing value as quickly and they have a bank account. I think those are just two different ways to look at this. The obvious reasons why people shouldn't use Bitcoin as a payment method. And all the business reasons why companies will tell you not to spend or save your Bitcoin, as well as the money that is made from those transactions in stablecoins, pulls the money together. Why is that? The normal market falls prices, while this other market does not. They don't go together. Those two systems can't work together. I believe we are talking about as we go further and further. I think what you're saying is that as they go down this road on both systems, these centralized ones will break and they'll find Bitcoin. That sounds like what you mean. It is important that these centralized ones don't break, or the whole system will not work. They'll get help from the government and they'll become even more centralized. This adds more danger to the asset that is being traded. That way people will think that's safe. That's what needs to happen just structurally. Protected Layer 2 and 3 solutions are needed so that you can spend Bitcoin in a way that is native to Bitcoin and doesn't involve any tokens or other things. This is the only way for Bitcoin to stay decentralized and safe across the protocol. Bitcoin's price has gone up and down a lot. It went from over $70,000 to around $50,000 and then back up again. At the same time,